One round of Q&A. Please note, all attendees will be muted. In case of any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat and we shall try to get them answered. Please send all your questions to all panelists. PDU details will be provided to all our participants through mail ID as per attendance. During the break, just note. Yeah. During the break, we will be having an announcement and then we will run our PMI presentation. Session will resume after the break. At the end of the session, we will have Q&A for 5 to 10 minutes, followed by vote of thanks and certificate giving to Ms. Subhangini. This is our agenda for today. So now a warm welcome to Subhangini and all the attendees. A brief intro about Subhangini. Subhangini has completed her BE Electronics and Communication in 1999 and MBA in 2001. She has more than 22 years of work experience in the IT industry. She is currently Senior Manager in Oracle Financial Services Software. She is managing FlexCube CASA delivery team. FlexCube is a core banking flagship product of Oracle, which has more than 900 customers across the globe, including leading banks and financial institutions. Recently, Subhangini was awarded Oracle Financial Services Celebration and Recognition Award for Engineering Breakthrough Deal of the Year. She contributed to the deal and the product FlexCube immensely. She successfully completed a course on storytelling and influencing, Communicate with Impact, from Macquarie University, Sydney, Australia. And today she is here with us to share her learnings, experience, and success stories based on this course and how we can communicate effectively and persuade others when traditional models of communication fail. Hopefully, this session will help us develop our capacity to communicate appropriately in different situations, making us a highly impactful leader. She will talk about impactful communication technique, which is storytelling. Participants can type their questions in chat box and send to all panelists. And now over to Ms. Subhangini. Subhangini?
Thank you, Sonali, for the wonderful introduction. I'm really humbled to hear that, and also thanks for inviting me today to this forum. I will be sharing my screen and I'll be starting on it. Yeah, just see that you. I'll just share my screen. Are you able to see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. So today I'm going to talk about storytelling. And I'm very passionate about this topic. And so today you will come across these, I'm going to tell you about some of the stories which have actually had this technique of storytelling, this storytelling, how it has helped me throughout in my career. So what's the agenda for today? The agenda is very simple. This is a storytelling session. So you're going to have only story, and story. That's it from me. So story one. I directly jump into the story because I feel stories can do the speaking. So story one. So this story is something which has happened with me quite some time back, say around 10 to 15 years back. So I stay in Chennai and I had to go on an office work to Bangalore. One of our offices is there in Bangalore. There were customers coming there and I had to go there for a presentation about the product, the one which I was working on. So I was very excited and I was all set to go. So my company had arranged everything for us, right from the, the travel, the accommodation, everything. And I was going all alone. So all that was happened. And that day I went to the library. The librarian had, she had everything, whatever I had to take. And I went to her and then I collected few things, then collected the tickets and all that. Then I realized this, I was new to Bangalore. I have not traveled much to Bangalore, so everything was new to me. So, so they gave me these tickets and all that. I took this ticket. And I realized the bus, it was the bus ticket. The bus started around 10 o'clock in Chennai, and it was going to go at 4 o'clock. I was 4 o'clock a.m., 4 a.m. It would go to Bangalore. So, yeah, so I boarded the bus. I took all the things and I boarded the bus. Then, when I boarded, I saw there was somebody behind. I noticed her and I realized I had seen her. And I said, "Oh, I've seen this girl." And I said, "Hi, did I see you in the library today when I came to collect few things?" She said, "Yes, I was there in the library and I work for OFSs." And I said, "Wow, wonderful." And I work for Oracle Financial Services too. And I'm from the Chennai office, traveling to Mumbai traveling to Bangalore for a client presentation. So I just introduced myself. She introduced herself, and she was from Bangalore office. She had come to Chennai for some work to Chennai office. So that's the only thing I talked to her. And the journey started, and they said early morning, 4 o'clock, it would go, and the bus would reach the place where I had to go. From there, it was the guest house was far away. I had to take an auto from there and go. So that's what the conductor told me. I was all set and I sat down, and I was traveling, but somewhere there was a little bit fear because I didn't travel much, and that too alone, I didn't travel much. And they said 4 o'clock from there, I have to catch the auto and go and all that. I was slightly scared. That was the truth. I was scared because it was a new situation for me, everything. Finally, so I didn't sleep much well. Also, I was kind of by 3:30 I got up and I was waiting, and I said 4 o'clock. Yes, it came on time, and I was getting down. Then I noticed this girl was also getting down with me. This new friend I just met in the bus, who happened to me from my own office. Yeah, I just met her, so she was also getting down. So she got down, and I waved her by, and she said she took her friend had come already to pick her up on the bike. So she was about to start. She looked behind and she saw me there. I just got down and I was scared. It was shown my face then, and but I was waiting and I was waiting for the auto. It was kind of pitch dark, that place. She was going. She looked at me and she said, "You're all right. You would manage. You would go to the guest house." I said, "Yeah, yeah, I'll manage." So she asked me, "Do you know Bangalore?" I said, "No, I don't know." She told me, "How far is this guest house?" She said, "Show me this address and all that." So she said, "Will you be able to tell the auto person?" I said, "I'll manage. I have this address. I'll manage." And it is already, 4 o'clock. She also has to go home and a friend is waiting. I said, "No, you go. I will manage. I will take the auto. I will manage. I'll do it." Okay. And I showed her a very bold face that, "Yes, yes, I'll do it. I'll do it. Not a problem." And all that. But then she said, "No," she said, "Subhangini, I will wait till you get into an auto, then I'll start. It's okay, I'll wait." So there was an auto that we got, and I sat down, and in fact, she helped explaining to the auto person, where is this address and all that, because I could not tell anything about it except for that address. I could not tell anything. The auto wala understood, and he said, "Okay." Then I said, "Okay, fine. Thank you so much for getting me into the auto." And I thanked her and I was about to leave. But she somehow wasn't convinced. She wasn't convinced. She said, "Swami, I will come with you. We will come in the we'll come the bike, follow the auto. I want to see you, to go till the guest house and then I will leave." I said, "No, you don't have to do that. Your way is different, and I don't know where you stay, and why do you have to come all the way? Now that I've got the auto, I don't think you need to come." But she insisted. She and a friend in the bike, they followed me in the auto. They ensured I got down, got into the guest house. They came to my room. They ensured that I got into the room and all that. I was settled, and then they left. So then that day when I went to the office and I finished my presentation during the break, I came out, I met her and all that. But this this incident taught me one thing. Everybody has a choice. Everybody has a choice to help another person. They can say, during the situation, they come and help you out. They say, "Yes, I'll help you out." They will say, "No, I can't." She could have just left. She would have said, wave me, and she would have left. Her friend was already there. She could have left. Or maybe she could have helped me this time, or next time they may not help me or something. It was a maybe choice. But then that day I learned one more choice was there. Be there. She was there. I didn't expect anything from her. Absolutely nothing. I just met her the day before, except for that, we both were through the same office. There was nothing else I knew about her, nothing else, absolutely. And she literally, I was totally taken back by the way she helped me. She came, and it was the need of the hour for me because I was new. I could have managed, but I was really scared. And she was there. She ensured I got in there. And so she gave me another choice that day, that be there. Be there for the person. I mean, uh, absolutely blow out and say that, they will be they'll be taken back by the way you help them, right? So that's the choice I learned that day. But kept thinking about the story again and again, and I was like, maybe there is a new meaning to be there. It's be the re. I split the word the and re, and when I split the word, I realized this word re. Re, what do we use it for? Anything you want to do it again, regain, rejoin, redo means doing it again and again and again. As so you have a choice of being there for the person again and again and again. And I think a learning which I took is be there for someone again and again and again, and you see the difference. So that's a choice I made from this whole story. Okay, so did you all like the story? Did you all like the story? Maybe you can put it in the chat. Did you all like this story? So this is a real incident that happened with me, and and why did I tell you all this story today? It's just to tell you some storytelling techniques. Okay. So first is when you tell a story, you immerse your audience in the story. You tell a personal story. Now this was a personal story. You create a suspense. The suspense that will I be able to actually, I was scared. It was pitch dark. I didn't know Bangalore. All this was a suspense. Bring the characters to life. This person whom I met just in the bus, except for being I didn't know much about her. Her friend, the friend I made, and her friend. Everything. These are the characters. And show and don't tell. I didn't have much to show in this story, but yes, that's if you show something and tell the story, it is effective. Build up the star moment, the final thing that I was blown up by the way they helped me. I never expected that this somebody would come and help me so much. And with a positive takeaway, that was be the real. That was the takeaway I learned from this story, and it's something I give about the story for anyone. So the reason I'm telling you this, the storytelling techniques and all this is very simple. Why is storytelling very important? When you tell a good story, it makes the other person, the person with the audience, it makes them think and feel. It makes them feel in such a way that, with numbers or any data or any presentation slides, you simply can't, because stories are something which touches people's emotions, and when they are where emotions are connected, they are genuinely connected. And that is why storytelling is one of the important tools of communication. When you tell a story, you're actually touching the emotions, and it is with their, so when they take a decision, right, of course, rational thinking is one thing, emotional decisions, the emotions, it helps taking a decision, right? So that is why storytelling is very important. And the story, how it can help you in a persuasive communication. When you say persuasive communication is something very simple, you want to give your idea, you want to sell your idea, and you want people to take action after they listen to it. They are persuaded that this idea is really good. One of the best tools is story. So when they come and listen to you, maybe they will start with why at all should we listen to this idea and all that. But once you tell them the story and you communicate with them in such a way, the people who came with the question of why will leave with the how. How should we implement this? That is what they might leave with. So the story has such a power that a person with a question why will leave with a question again, but it would be how. So next, how do you structure your story? There's a situation, there's an obstacle, there's a solution, there's an SOS. It's called the SOS. So there was a situation, me getting down early morning, no lights and all that. So the thing is, I had to go to the office. The situation is I had to go to the office, which was in Bangalore. Obstacle, early morning, no lights, didn't know Bangalore, all this. Solution, they gave me the solution. They ensured everything was taken care for me. So the whole thing, right? So it's a situation, obstacle, and solution. And when I said stories, it's a very important tool, and because they connect to emotions. A very simple thing is that in our brain, the limbic system, it's the place where your stories and all getting are stored. Your images, long-term memories, pictures, images, whenever you experience pain, anything. And this is the same place when we take any decision, any emotional decision, it's through it again hits the limbic system. So when you tell a story, you actually connect, right? So emotionally connected stories do wonders. Okay, so this is the learning we had. I tried to give you with one story. Now I'll go ahead and tell you another situation, rather, and then add it up with a story. So the situation is, imagine I'm being called for a team building workshop, and I'm supposed to tell them that that working in teams makes wonders. This is the thing, this is the expectation out of me. So I go to this place, and I'm in this workshop of this team building workshop, where I have to stress the point of team means together everyone achieves more. And how do you think I can do this? Simple. The answer is very simple. A story. So I tell them the story. So this again happened in this was again in my office in Chennai, Oracle Financial Services office. So I used to look at people, and I somewhere felt, people were getting too monotonous in their work, and they were quite busy. Work was high, they were very busy, and it was getting monotonous. I wanted to, something, we should, when you look back, I feel we should have a lot of memories back. Some memories, of course, work is thing, but you create memories. You have some good memories of some event or something happening. It leaves good, something nice for us to remember. And I wanted to give this a nice memory to all my colleagues. It was not one or two. Of course, our HR does a good job. They have a lot of events they conduct and all that, which actually adds to, which is what I'm trying to do. But what I realized is when these events get conducted, only few people attend. Most of them will say, I have work. So I had to tackle the situation. I wanted to create a memory for all our people in OFS's Chennai office, but at the same time, not take too much of their time, because time is crucial for each of them. So how do I do it? I knew the next thing was the Republic Day was coming, and I said, why don't we do something for the Republic Day? And also, somewhere bring the spirit within ourselves, our spirit of our being an Indian, bring that spirit also, considering that, what can I do? Believe me, I was lost out of ideas. I didn't have any ideas. I kept thinking 1 2 days, scratching my brain literally, but I was not getting ideas. But I said, okay, let me do one thing. I don't have an idea, but I can ask people for an idea, and maybe something will work out. And that's what I started doing. I didn't literally brainstorm, but whenever I used to have a lot of friends, and I used to ask my family, I had my friends. So I used to travel in train, and I had a lot of friends in train. I used to ask them, I used to ask my colleagues, I used to ask a lot of people, my community friends where I stay, everybody. I gathered all the ideas, and I zeroed down to one idea. One of my friend gave me an excellent idea. She was my colleague there, and she said, Shivani, we'll do one thing, very simple. We have 4 floors. I said, fine. All the floors will give one color of our flag. Let them all come in that color. Okay, and people who have the maximum number, we will give them green and orange. The less numbers, we'll take the white and the blue. So very good, fine. And we knew that in our office, one person had an excellent taste in photography. In fact, he does professional photography kind of a thing. He likes doing that. It's a hobby for him. So we said we can bring him and ask him to take a nice photo. We will do that formation of that India flag and then India and all that, and we'll do that. So I said, excellent idea. But now, how do we implement this idea? I had to get to the HR. They are the people whom I have to go. So I went to the HR. I said, this is the idea, and we need to implement this for this Republic Day. Can we go ahead and do it? We need your help. They were very happy. They said, excellent. We can do this. You give me all the write-up, I will send the mail. So I sat down, I wrote the write-up, I gave it to them. My HR, the HR sent the mail. But next is, okay, idea is there. All that is there, date is fixed. But success only comes if everybody get involved. I always found that events were always few people will be there, but I didn't want that to happen again. All that they had to do was come and dress up and come in that color and just stand for a photo. Is that all? It was not a big expectation. I said, but for me to drive this idea, I need people. So I said, okay, I have 4 floors. Every floor, at least 2, 3 volunteers I need who will drive this idea and ensure everybody comes in that color and they come for the photograph. Okay. So I did that. I knew who were the people in every floor. I picked 3 of them. I told them, this is what planned for Republic Day for our office celebrations, and you ensure that your floor comes in this color. And they also did a wonderful job. And finally, I'll have to really show you this. This is what was the result. These were the 2 photos we took. We all assembled at our assembly point, and from the top, this person took our photographs. So here it was India, and here was our flag. I won't say it is very great and all that. Still, there are far, far better photographs, but when I look at it, I feel very happy. And this all happened just before the COVID time. And whenever I look at this, it gives me back a lot of memories. I mean, it is very good. In fact, if you see here in this India photograph here, there's one person here in the last row, second last line. That's me with the sari and all that. I had only orange color a sari. I didn't have the dress that day, and I wore that. So that is what it was. So it was nice. It was nice, and people enjoyed. And they came up with their own ideas. So this India, you see, the center blue color, that was not a part of anything, but it was their own ideas. I said, we'll do this, we'll do that. They all did that, and I still remember when I was arranging people in this line, and people are like, oh my god, who is this lady? I mean, she's behaving like a literal class teacher. And because some floors people didn't know me, but that day they didn't know me. I said, no, everybody stand in lines here, there, this, that, and all that. And we took a photo, and it was really nice. We put it in all our official Slack groups. Many people appreciated. Many people did the same thing again for their offices and all that. So this was one of the very good memories I have. Okay, so this event. So what is the big learning of this is, if you look at this outcome, together everyone achieves more. TEAM, 4. Together everyone achieves more. A best example is I wanted to do it, but I didn't have anything. I neither had the idea nor knew what to do or how to do it. Idea I got from someone. HR helped me send the mails. The volunteering team ensured their floors were, taken care. Arrangements, when we came down, some volunteers, me, everybody, we ensured. And then there was one person who was very good at photograph. So every person, had a different skill, and we all pulled together to come up with this output. So as a team, you always will have different people. When you're doing a project, what happens? You'll have one person who really develops good code, but one person who can give actually what is the requirement. Because if you don't have a clear requirement, what will you code and you will develop? One person has to be a business analyst, come up with the requirement kind of a thing. One person will do the development. One person will do a perfect testing. One person will ensure that there is automation to the testing, that if today I develop the product and go, any fix should not break this code. It should go properly. That automation, the test automation scripts have to be developed by someone. So all these people get involved, and then you will have the final product, which actually is good. So you will have always a mix of teams. So together, when you work as a team, the output is really very, very good. It is far more better than always, sometimes I feel 1 + 1 is 2. And sometimes when we work as a team, it sometimes becomes greater than 2, more than what we expect. And that's what when you work as a team, it makes wonders. So this is a story I would tell in the team building workshop. To work as a team. Now, in this idea, I had only this idea, how, my thing was only that, I was seeing people getting into a monotony. I wanted to give them a memory for them, some photo for them to stick and always look back and feel proud of themselves or feel nice about themselves, that they were working in with these colleagues, and they had some good days with each other, right? So I was always looking back, what is possible, what it was now current to what is possible. I was trying to look at that. So if you look at it, this is one of the story. They have a hook There is a middle part and there is an end. There's a beginning, there's a middle, there is an end. So big hook is something like what I said, what I saw was possible. It can be something else. When you're telling a story, it can be something provocative. It can be a shocking statistic. You may say that, this is a problem. This is the current situation. That's where the fact is. And that's the problem. And then you start that way. That may be one of the way. For me, it was like I knew what was possible and what is it current, but what is possible, I was looking at that. The next is the middle part, which is actually the core of it. 80% of the thing happens here. There's a problem, there's a solution, there's a benefit. So there, I knew the problem, the monotony. I knew the solution. We got the solution to everyone combined together, and the benefit, we had such a good memory, right? And so that's a, so this middle part, you can either, how do you ensure you bring the middle part to your story? You uh, you bring some facts, stories, and so in this case example of where I was talking to you about creating this creating this picture. So the most of it was the middle part. How did we actually, all of us, pull in to come up with the solution? All that was this, right? So there was a problem, there is a solution, and what was the benefit? We got the photo out of it. So this, I used the visual to tell you how it was. I showed you the photo, which was the output of everything, and create some unforgettable moments. That was one thing for me. Okay, waiting. And when you tell, when you talk, varying the style of delivery is very important. When you talk in a monotonous way, if I have just, I go very slow, I'll say, we did this, it goes very, you sleep off. So it is not, try to vary your style of delivery, especially when you're telling a story, and use curiosity questions as why do you think this will happen? Okay, what happens if this, and keep asking curiosity questions. If you have audience there and they can be unmuted and they can talk, they can, that is also one way. Alternating between facts, stories, and implications. If you have a presentation where you have some facts, you have some figures, that last year the performance was like this, and this is the fact, and how can you do it better, or something like that, that will be, so mix your facts and stories. And very important, when you are actually doing a presentation, people have invested their time, and so it should be something which should be a learning for them. So it should be make it rewarding for the audience. Find end call to action, often inspiring. It could be anything like, or in the earlier story, be the re, or in this story, I would say that my inspiring thing was team can do wonders, right? Together, everyone achieves more. So that is what was inspiring about this story, right? So some more, a little bit of theory, but something which will help you. Not too much, but some keywords you all can remember when you're actually doing a presentation and using story as a technique. ACE to alias. When I say ACE, now what is ACE? It is an acronym for attention, comprehension, emotion, and imagination. Before your idea is accepted by the audience, three things we need to take care: attention, comprehension, emotion, and imagination. Attention. When you're giving a presentation to the audience, you should get their attention. Only if you get their attention, what will happen? They will try to understand what you're saying. So you get their attention, then they comprehend. Comprehend is understanding. They will have to understand what they do. The moment they understand, when you're telling a story, they're trying to understand what is that, this person's trying to tell me with the story. Then they start, it goes into their emotions and they start imagining it. Maybe through your visual, they'll say, okay, they will start looking at the bigger picture. And when it gets into their imagination, they start accepting the message. Okay, it was good. They're accepting the message that yes, together everyone achieves more. They accept the message. When they accept the message, there is a learning. That yes, there is a learning. You have diverse, in a team, you have everybody with diverse capabilities and diverse skill sets, and but still you can achieve a lot of things. Inspire, it will inspire that, in any kind of work, people can repeat the same thing. They can, you within a team, you can go together, and finally the action, they will also try to build teams and come up with different outputs. innovative outputs, I would say, more than different would be innovative outputs, which people can't really think. So as I said, 1+1 sometimes is 2, and you can think about greater than 2 when it comes to teamwork. All right. So ACE to alias. ACE is anything, a precondition to getting your message accepted by the audience. But once it is accepted, it inspires people to action. And how do you do this ACE to alias? Very simple, by changing praise. Changing praise is nothing but when you are telling your story, your delivery style, you keep changing. Don't go in the monotonous way, and then praise. Be provocative. Try to use languages as provocative or something which inspires people. What is important to your audience? Remember, always your audience has come today to listen something from you all. So remember that, and what is important to them, do speak on those lines. Always remember that. Then the ES is the emotional stories. You include emotional stories in that, and then S is a simple language. Always use simple language. No need to have, I've always seen that, when you speak, it is the message gets communicated very well if you are using a simple language. If you use complex language, nobody will, they will not understand. So your A's to alias, it will stop at C itself. Where will people don't comprehend or understand, the next things will not happen. Right? I can give you a very simple example. Yesterday, I was taking a session. I had to tell a story, a small story, very nice story for kids from 8 to 13 years. I was doing this for, as a part of our Oracle volunteering, I was doing this for Desire Society, which is for the HIV affected kids, their families and all those things. So yesterday I was doing that. So when I was doing that, I was trying my best to keep my English language as simple as possible. And they also gave me one tip, that these people are from Hyderabad, all these kids are from Hyderabad. If I can include some Telugu, it will actually help them understand better. So what I was trying to do is I was trying to read it in English, because I was showing them it was a book. I was reading a book actually. It was in English. So I was showing them that, I was reading that, but I was explaining that in Telugu so that they understand. Because unless they understand, they will not be able to enjoy it or learn whatever I'm trying to at the end of it, right? So very important is to use a very simple language. So again, I will repeat it. It is, how do you do this? Changing praise. When you're talking to when you want to get your message communicated, how do you do it? You change your delivery style. You be provocative. Remember what is important to the audience. Include emotional stories, like how I have been trying to include emotional stories, and very simple language. Don't go to complex words or complex thing, anything. And people might ask, stories, where do we get? Stories are everywhere. Yeah. You just have to, it can be personal. It can be something that happened to somebody else. It need not be your story, or it can be a famous myths or fables. Just take them as an example and then use them. It creates a really good impact. Okay. So A's to alias. A's, I will again go back just to recollect for the people. A's to alias. A's is people, get people's attention, let them comprehend, and let it get into their emotions and imagination. This is only a precondition. Is only if the precondition is satisfied, people will get into the alias thing. What is that? They accept the message, they learn the message, they get inspired by the message, and they start on the action. Unless you get into the action, it is not going to help. Your message is communicated, and you want somebody, you're giving a presentation. What do you want them to do? Finally, it is, maybe if it is as simple as giving an information, you don't need a presentation or you don't need a story. You can even send an email. But you want some action from the other person, then yes, story is one of the very good tools. And how you do this? Ace to alias, changing place. By following this, you can get your message communicated. Okay. So did you all like the next story? Before I get into this, did you all like the picture? Rather, did you like the picture of Republic Day OFSS Chennai? Y'all can put it in chat. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. In fact, many people asked me after this, some people who had joined new to office, they thought I was from the HR. Many people thought I was from the HR. I said nothing like that. I'm only from our development team, product team, and I just do this because I, I like doing it, and I feel people should always have some memories to take back. And I always ensure in office there's some other event I keep conducting and doing this. So this was one of them. Okay. So when you're giving your presentation, think about it as a mix of facts and stories. Okay. I will go back in times. So during the Greek, when the Greeks were there, they used to, you look at those, the photos of all this, you search of the photos and all that, Google it out. You'll see a lot of amphitheaters and all that. They used to like public speaking a lot. They were a lot into public speaking, debates and all that. So at that point, Aristotle, one of the philosophers, he used to attend a lot of these competitions, public speakings and all that. And he said, he analyzed and he said the success of these speaking things, public speaking or these debates, is when you have a mix of three things: logos, pathos, and ethos. What is logos? Very simple, rational and logical arguments. When you present a fact, you present numbers, you said, this is the, this was our sales last year or something like that, or our quality of our product was so much percentage. So when you have some numbers and the actual things, right? They are the rational and logical things. They are the logos. Next is pathos. Pathos are anything that stirs up the emotion and imagination of a person. It's usually the best technique they use was telling a story. Next is ethos. Ethos is more to do with a person's values. So what are you valued for? When people look at you, what are you valued for? What does this person stand for? Right? That is what. So, just to give you an example, if you look at it, might think if many people look at me as somebody who can help another person, any help they need, they will come in and ask me. Even if I don't know, I'll say, so and so person will know, or you go to them, you will get your what you want. So they come to me because they look at me as a person who can help them, who can guide them. I don't know, then I can guide you to the person who will know. So each person has some values in life. So when it's a combination of these three things, right, then it is a success. Your presentation or your what you're trying to speak would be a success. So remember, he said that any speaking, public speaking or debates are a success when they have three things. You have your logos, which are your rational and logical arguments, the pathos, which are the emotional. That is what we are talking today about, the stories which can actually stir up the emotion and imagination. Next is ethos. Ethos is a person stands for. So what is this person's character and credibility? What does the person stand for? When you have all these three things together, it would have been a success. Why? Simple, because facts, the logos, so the facts, they appeal to the listener's logic. Logically, when you think, yeah, this looks correct, this numbers look correct. Now with the numbers last year, this number is logical, we can achieve this and all that. So we are logically thinking. Stories, it's because it's our imagination, our emotion. It just, you start thinking and you start imagining. And all these provide, finally, end of it, it provides a meaning to it. So that's what it says, implication provides a meaning. So stories are powerful because, very simple, they make it interesting. If I didn't have these stories, most of them would be like, why it would get into boring, right? So when you have a story, you all listen to it, right? So that's what it is, as simple as that. You take the same technique and use it, you will make the presentation interesting. So okay, so the next is a story 4, which would be the springboard story. It's exactly 10:40. I will go with one more story. This is, yeah, I know there's a lot of stories, but as I said, my agenda is all about stories because stories are the best way to communicate, one of the best ways to communicate what you want to. So this one is called the springboard story. So this I'll tell you, this happened to me, this again happened to me in my work time. So when we were working, there was a deliverable that we had to give. I know this deliverable was something, not just starting was part of it, But there were 5 more teams. Totally together, we have 5 more teams. Only if all of them collaborate, we can reach the 100%. So we were at 70%, but we wanted to go 100%. That was the target. And we were at 70%. And which was not a good at all. Okay. And getting to the 100% is very, very important for us, for our success for the project. So that, and how do we do it? How can we achieve it? All these questions were cropping up. And it was not a good thing. We were at 70%, was not a good thing. We wanted to go to that 100%. So I knew that, I was one of the teams who was part of this work, and we had to get it to the 100%. So I took I took it on me, and I said, okay, let's do it. So I called for a meeting, and I told them, see, we are at 70%, but we have to reach the 100%. And I believe definitely we can do it. And we will reach there, that 100%. We are all going to reach there. As a team, we are all going to do it. Now, you tell me, you have to reach this 100%. Where are your obstacles? You tell me, me and my team will get into and help you all so that we all can together reach the 100%. That was what I told them. And we used to have consecutive meetings. That's 70%, then they opened up. They said, then I realized some people were working in silos. They were working on their own, and they didn't know they were doing wrong. Then we sat down, my team helped them out. My team, we sat down, we helped them out. Then we found where were the roadblocks. There were certain things, roadblocks, because people knew it or they did it in slightly wrong way, or they were really stuck. It was genuine issues, and some had to be really seen. Some we ourselves didn't know where how to go about. Then what I would do, I would collate that information. We had another team who was an expert in that. We would send to them, have their get their expertise, advice, bring it to that, and then solve it. But we were all solving in a team. So what would happen is, when we solve one person's issue, the same issues, all people, at least 3 or 4 people, similar issues will have. And we used to discuss the solutions. This is a solution, and this is how we have solved. With that we will solve another 4 people teams. That solution will come automatically. So we kept doing this. That 70% suddenly became 80, 80 to 90, 90 to 96. In 96, we were stuck for some time. We were stuck with 96 for some time, and I understood why. I kept doing the same thing. There was one team who was not able to, come out of this 96%. And literally, we sat with them and said, why not? Let's work together. Let's work together. It's step by step, we worked. And I think last month, we reached the 100%. From 70 to we reached the 100%. This is one of my, I feel very proud about, because there was a lot of open things when we started with the 70%. But, small things. They call this agile process, and small thing, one by one, and you keep doing it and you reach the 100%, right? The only technique I used, I would say, is the springboard story. Now, what is a springboard story is, I was always showing them the future because I believed it was possible. I was transporting all my teams, the listener, into another time and place, into the future, for instance. So I was always showing them, see, we are at 70, we were here, then I would say, we are going to reach there. And I believe it is going to be possible. It's just that we need to work together. We all have, somewhere certain open things, we will get together. Sometimes the solution may not be with us. We will get the solution from some other team. It is my responsibility, my team's responsibility, that we will get the solution, but we will all work. So I kept giving them solutions, and suddenly I said, and we saw just 70, 80, slowly 90, and 96 was stuck for some time, and then we reached 100, right? So this is exactly the technique which great orators use when they paint the desired imagined future. So many scenarios, when you're stuck, this actually helps. You give them that, then they start believing. My team, everybody, all these 5 teams, they started believing, okay, it is possible. Come on, let's work towards it. Because they were also looking at the picture. I was showing them that picture, that yes, this 100% is very much possible. And they were also seeing it. When they got into it, suddenly they saw the 70% really became 80%, 80% became 90%. Then it's like, why not? And they gave confidence. That numbers itself gave them confidence, because I was showing them the picture always. And with the picture, they were able to get in there. So that is the power of showing, that the imagined future. This is what it is called. This kind of stories are called a springboard story. I used this technique and I brought my team from 70% to 100%. Of course, there was a lot of background work that did, but what really helped is they started believing that yes, it is possible, because I believed it and I was showing them the picture. Yes, it is possible. It is possible, and I will help you. And they always felt that yes, she's there to help us out. And they came to me and we used to solve them. And when we solve one problem, so many problems, so many people, same similar problems get solved, and we got there. And it was a big thing for us. So so yes, good for me too. That's right. So yes, so this springboard story helps a lot. Show the future, show the vision, but believe me, you will have to believe it first. As a leader, I believe that my team and all of us together, we can reach that. Only if I believed, I could show them the picture and they were convinced. If you don't believe, if I didn't believe, but I was showing the picture, it doesn't look the right way, because with the words that I do, the emotions, the way I speak doesn't match. It will not show the intended output. Only if you believe. So believe as a leader. When you're a leader, you're in the leadership position, and you have this kind of scenario where you need to bring to that 100%. You believe, show the belief, and make the, then they will get into action and you will see the result automatically. Okay, so that was an excellent for me and for my team, and this was very good. 70% to 100% we successfully managed and we brought it. So this was one good thing that happened. Yeah, so this was one story. So did you all like this story? Yes, Anu says yes. Santosh, excellent. Okay. Viswajit says yes. Ankur says yes. It was good, good. Of course, we liked it. Yes. These are practical situations, right? Every place you have these kind of things where you will have targets and you have to reach the targets, right? You just have to work as a team. First, believe yourself and show the belief to your team, and people will start working towards it. So that's the thing. Okay. So that was, so we are at 10:45. Before I get into the next thing, um, do you want me to stop? Do you have any questions till now? Anything, any questions that you want to ask me till now? Anybody wants to put it on chat? Go ahead. It has been more than 45 minutes since we have started the session. Anybody has any other questions, anything?
Yeah, we have a question, Shivangini.
Okay.
This is from Abhishek.
Okay.
So that's the first question. So
Okay.
I'm a trainer providing training to project managers, which is a whole day event from
Okay.
morning 9 to evening 6.
Okay.
Since trainings are technical in nature, sometimes it becomes tedious and boring for participants. How should we trainers use storytelling in our trainings? Any suggestions? Or Harish is also asking, is there a is role play a good option to tell a story? So there are two questions actually.
Okay. To answer the first question, right? Technical. Now, this what I told you, this one, what I was telling you about the springboard story, the example that I took, it was completely technical work. We were at 70% of our deliverables. We had to reach 100%. How would I do it? I was simply telling them, painting them the future, and then showing it to them. And it was possible that we could reach. So it was completely technical work, but I used the same springboard story and I was able to show them. Or another way of it is, when you said you were training a lot of project managers, and it is more on the technical part and all that, and when you want to, sometimes it gets boring, too much of technical and all that, then yes, it is possible to include a story or something, and it can be a story of a success. Suppose you have given, how the customer has performed, how we have performed in terms of getting more customers and all that. Take that story. When you read it, or when we talk to many of the consulting people, many of the sales people, their stories, you take them and you tell them. You finally, when you're saying you're technical, you're finally giving a product, and that has a delivery, right? So connect that story and show them the big picture and tell them that, yeah, so people have done it. We have now reached here, so you can reach too, kind of thing. That was one thing. And to answer the next thing, role play. Role play, yes, you can do a role play, but can you be more elaborate on your question? Maybe it'll help me answer.
Harish, can you please explain your question? Can you give a little bit more in the chat? Okay, we haven't read anything from Harish yet. But
Okay, so
yes, Shubhangini, your response to Abhishek's question on providing stories from within the organization, success stories of how things have been achieved, how targets have been met, etc.,
right,
is definitely helpful. Thank you for that.
yeah. Anybody else has any other questions?
Yeah, so Harish says he is added to his question. When we have many team members and it's complex,
Hmm.
role play will be helpful. So, what's your comment on that, Shubhangini?
Um, when you have many team members and you have to, when you say role play, uh, so it's basically getting into the role and doing it. But see, what you can do is again, for everything, you would already have something that is, uh, example I will take is I took the example of team, right? So I said together everyone achieves more. I brought it to my scenario where I have an agile team, I have a developer, I have a tester, I have a, different people, business analyst is there, then you have an automation expert is there, and all these together, right? I said we can together achieve more. So this was a story I had used and I had told my team so that we can bring this, right? So one is I take the example of a picture of how together we achieve, but at the same time, I bring it back to the actual scenario of my teams, right? How are they doing? What kind of roles they have? So each person has a different role. In my as a tester, they have a different role, but each role is so important to achieve the final picture. If I didn't, in the example of the picture of the Republic Day, right? If I hadn't thought of a person who wouldn't have come with the idea, the whole thing wouldn't have been done. If I had the idea, but I didn't have the person who had to take the photo, it wouldn't have been done. So each person has a different role, and every role will help in the final picture or in the final team. So that is, you can tell them clearly by the same example of this how together everyone achieves more. This example of mine, I would use that to tell my team, right?
Thank you, Shubhangini.
Yeah.
There's a, yeah, Harish says thanks for the response. There's a question from Jonathan. How do you handle your audience from diverse cultural backgrounds and diverse age groups with stories?
Okay. So yesterday, as I said, I had this session with the kids. Now they came up and they said, "See, we have two categories. The age group is very huge. We have 8 to 18. Now, how will a single story you will go you're going to entertain the whole audience? At least in that case, I was very clear. I said, okay, fine. And for 8 to 18, I will divide it. And I said, I'll bring two stories, one to cater to the younger audience and one to cater to the elder audience. So what I did, I took this 8 to 13 as one age group and I told them a story. And then 13 to 18, which was slightly elderly kids, for them, we told them a motivational story, which was more relatable because they are the kids who are going to now enter the very quickly enter into the workforce and all. So it had to be something where they needed to have a story which would have a role model kind of a thing. When you have a role models, you try to do like that. You try to be like them and you try to imitate like them and you would like to be like them, right? So it should have been a role model kind of story. But for the kids of 8 to think, I wanted a very simple thing because the language should be very simple, and it was mainly the purpose of that was only to entertain. So based on that, I had divided my stories itself were different. One, What was the purpose that I was trying to achieve? I was only trying to entertain and give some language. My only thing from 8 to 13 was only to introduce that English language, few meanings here and there. I did, it was more for that. Whereas for the 13 to 18, my intent was different. I wanted to give them some motivation, some role model to have, to look forward to. So then I came up with two stories. The first story was simple language, something which had good language. I selected that story. So what I did was I went to Pratham Books. They have yearly, they select two stories and they read it for the International Literacy Day. So I took that story and read it. So it had excellent English words done and simple language done. Now, what do I do from the next age group, 13 to 18? I said, who else? Our motivational stories, we have such good leaders. We had Abdul Kalam. So we took his life story. He had a lot of stories as a kid, how he was and how he overcome the obstacles and from where he started when he was trying to launch the rockets, how they failed the first time, but what was the learning they had, and they took that an example and they were successful the next time. So I took that example and I took that story and we told them, right? So coming back to your question, so I had diverse audience of different age groups, and we cater to different. So I had two different stories for each of them. Now, I hope it helps. Was your question related to all of them in the same presentation? Or see, in this case, we had two different stories and I could cater. But was your question related to, I have a single story and I have to attach that, and I have the same kind of audience, and was your question related to that?
Yeah, Jonathan says yes.
Okay, so
So,
when you have a when you have a diverse audience and at the same time a diverse diverse age group also, I would say take a simple story, something which everybody can relate to. Okay, so suppose I took this example of this India flag, right? This India flag thing. I think everybody can relate to. There was nothing technical. There was nothing to do with age group. Everybody can relate to that kind of a thing, right? And the story of me traveling to Bangalore, anybody can relate to. Anybody could be in that situation. It need not be. So it was generic enough. Anybody could relate. I did not take purposely any of the stories which involved any technical things or anything, because then I'll be lost. People will get lost. My message would not reach you all. I tried my best to take those examples which people can put themselves into their shoes and they say, yeah, they can relate to it. Right. So that was the whole thing. Try to take the simple things, very simple. When you put yourself into their shoes and see that when you're listening to their stories, will you be able to understand? So if your answer is yes, then that's the right story.
thank you, Shubhangini. We have one more question from Eno.
Okay.
So he's saying, when you say be provocative, could you please explain on type of provocation? Is it positive or negative? And which emotions are most effective?
Right. Provocative can be in terms of the words you use. Okay, so I remember I went once to my one of the I was selected for this Oracle Women Leadership event which happened in Singapore. So I was very excited. I went for this event and I sat down. Okay, the first session, the first speaker who came on stage and he started. Okay, he was when he came, the way he came. Okay, he was standing like this and he just said one line, and I still remember. He said, love, he said, what your boss likes, you should like it more than 100%. What your boss likes, you should like it more than 100%. Only then you will be successful. He repeated this 3 times. He said, what your boss likes, you should like it more than 100%. I repeat it. What your boss likes, you should like it more than 100%. And what I mean by that, a very simple thing. When your boss gives you a work, you take it and you give more than 100% and see that you will become successful in life. What your boss believes that you can do it and he has given you, you have to take it to the next level. I mean, he would have thought you will complete this work, the way he is asking you, but you give more than that. He will be overwhelmed by the way. And he said these words, he was loud, he was standing and he was sick. And believe me, it created that. Even today, when I, I sometimes when I get to work and I'll be like, now come on, Subhangini, you can give more than 100%. Come on, Shivani, I know you've reached 100%, but this is not the best. Okay, what your boss believes, give more than the 100% to that. So that words, the way he used, that's exactly the provocative thing. And he created an impact. Believe me, he created an impact. That was the first presentation of our 2-day event. We had a 2-day event, and he created a big he created a big effect on all of us. So that words. So coming to the question, the words. So this is an example which I saw, and it stuck to me because it was so powerful. He just said that believe what your boss believes, you believe more than 100% of it, you give your best more than 100%. And that it stuck with me for a long time, and in fact even now. So that's a positive way. Now so words, body language, and the way he started, and then he told us one story. Then I remember I'm this person's another session I attended, because I really like this guy. He really spoke well, and he showed one picture, and he said, what do you see? It's just a lotus, right? It's just a lotus, and it's a beautiful lotus. And he told that, do you all know that, this lotus, um, uh, I don't remember the exact days. He said, if the lotus grows, before that 30 days it's inside, there is inside it grows, and then finally one day it comes and comes out. But you do not know that it has inside, the growth is happening inside for another 50 days, or maybe or 29 days, and the 30th days it pops out. So what he was trying to do is, sometimes you feel that you're not getting recognized, right? And that is when you'll have to think about this, that you suddenly one day you will get the recognition. You're there in the 29 days within water, where people don't realize you're being noticed. So keep giving your best, and notice that one day you will when you come out, people will start noticing. So that is what he said. This was also very wonderful, that way. One, he provocated with his body language, and I was in person looking at him, and the other one was a virtual one. He told this story, this he just took this picture of one simple lotus and showed us, and it created a big impact. So coming back to that question, provocative can be in terms of the language that you use, what words you use, the way you use it, body language, the way you use it, and you present it, the strongness and all that, that way. Now, whether it can create a negative impact, I think yes, because any emotions are plus and minus, but I would recommend people to use it in a positive, because emotions are always it's a positive emotion. You have a negative emotion. You want to create a negative impact, you can use the same provocation. Yes, people do use these sometimes, and create the negative, spread the negative things also. So yes, it can be used either ways. Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you for that, Shivangini. It is 11 o'clock and 3 minutes. So we can take a break. But just before the break, I want to say that we are receiving a lot of rave comments from the attendees. So which you have been reading, like excellent, it's a great example. Prashant sir says it's interesting with a lot of examples, and especially your boss example was very good. And thank you for breaking up the words for us today to give us a new meaning for be there, and explaining what is team togetherness. Together, everyone achieves more. So we'll take a break now, Shubhangini, and all the attendees. So it's 11 o'clock and 4 minutes, and say 11:20, we will be back to continue the session. And in the meanwhile, please be on mute and stop your video, but stay connected.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, hi everybody. We are back. So we will continue with the session now. Over to you, Subhangini.
Thank you, Sonali. Yes, I will put my PPT again. I'll share my screen. All right. I hope you can see my PPT. Sonali, you're able to see my PPT?
Yes. Yes, Subhangini.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, thanks for joining back. I would go ahead with the case study, but before I actually get into the next part of the presentation, just to recollect few key terms. I will go to the key terms. Ace to alias is what which I had emphasized in the first part of the presentation. So when you use a story to give the presentation, right, it is effective, very effective. But remember few key things. The message that you're trying to communicate, it should be accepted. Only if it is accepted, you will see the action. So remember, when you're giving any presentation or your idea is to be accepted, get the attention of the audience first. Comprehension. It should be in such a way that people understand, and then it should touch their emotions and imaginations, and best way is stories, because then if they touches their imagination, they accept the message. Only if they accept the message, they learn the message, or it gets into their learning thing that yes, they learned something new, and they get inspired by that whatever they have learned. And when they get inspired, they do act on it. So A's to alias. Remember these things, A's to alias. And how do you do? Very simple. When you are giving a presentation, you remember that you always change your delivery style and be provocative, and whatever you talk, it should be something very important to the audience. Only then they would be interested. Include emotional stories. Stories can be from anywhere. Always use simple language. Remember these few key things is to alias by changing please, and get the success from your presentations. And remember also that when you presentation has. Is my voice cracking? Somebody said it's okay. Now it's okay. Okay, fine. I just thought I should come slightly near. Okay, and also I was talking to you about springboard story with an example or a story that I told, that how I was painting the picture for my team of getting the 100% and then trying to reach there. So based on the scenario and based on the situation, you could use the story accordingly. So there was a question on provocative. That, as I said, an example again. What your boss believes, you should believe 100% more than that. That was the kind of words that the person used it with such force, and he repeated it 3 times, and it was very effective, that it still remains in our minds for a long time. That was kind of a provocative. And somebody asked, role play also. Maybe I could not think of a story or think of something at that point of time, but when I was trying to recollect, I remember I had seen one of the plays. So this was part of our Oracle Diverse Abilities Network. We had called professional people who were a drama group. They conduct dramas. So they had come and they had done a kind of presentation. It was a story about a person who has diverse abilities, and they have been recruited into the company. What happens during the recruitment, and once they get recruited, the manager, when they behave and their things, how we try to be sometimes extra nice to these people and actually hurt their feelings without realizing that subtle thing. They actually did it with a role play. One person acted as a manager, one person acted as the person who had who had a problem, and someone was speech and one was here, one was seeing and all that, and they had different things. So they did a role play and it was very effective. So just to answer the question, that role plays can be effective, yes. Sometimes when when you have to talk about a very sensitive points like this, it is very easy through this role play. Such kind of things, role play is very, very helpful. That's what I saw as an example. Okay, so now moving on to the next two things that I have to speak about. One was a case study. This was uh, this is actually a video. I've given the link of the video. We will also share it with y'all. Y'all have a look at it. But what is the reason that I brought it as a part of this presentation is it was really good. You know, Steve Jobs, he had gone to Stanford University in 2005. He goes there and he is addressing the newly graduated students, and he's trying to, tell his story about how he started with very little money and how he reached to become one of the very wealthiest man in the world, and what were the problems he faced and how did he overcome. And all that he used was the same technique of stories. He told three stories. One story was about connecting the dots, next was love and loss, and third one was follow your heart, and you can pretty much do anything you're up to. So he very beautifully told these three things. So I would recommend everybody to look at the video. I'll tell you a little bit of the story very quickly. The first story, okay, he actually dropped out of college and he took this calligraphy course, and he finished the calligraphy course. And then when he actually built Apple, and he was designing the keyboard, right? That is when he thought about it. Right now, since he had taken the calligraphy course, he knew how the letters and the different, you have the different fonts and all that. So he ensured he built it such a way that it was the keyboard had all the features where it is people could use it for all the fonts and all those things and all that. So that was the first type of keyboard which was typographically, or it was all these features could be brought in. So he said that, the reason of telling that story, though he was a dropout, and there was more to it, and how he was actually born, and why he dropped college, and finally he joined this calligraphy. And what he was trying to say is connect the dots. I took the calligraphy course a long time back, but I didn't know that that would be useful for me. That knowledge would be useful for me when I'm building my computer, and I would use them and make this computer the one which has, first computer which has all these features built in. He says always connect the dots. When you look back, you actually, something happens. It is always for the good, that dots get connected somewhere or the other. So that is a nice way of, he had given an example. Next is the story 2, where he says he was asked to quit Apple, and he didn't have anything. That was the company he had built, and he was asked to go away. He didn't know what to do. But what he did was he again didn't give up, and because he had a passion, he wanted to do something. So he started another company, Pixar, and that was also a big successful company, and that was finally acquired by Apple again, and he rejoined Apple. So what did he, go through all this period? How he started with zero and nothing, and again came up, and and ensured his way up. How he did that was about story 2. The last story was about he was detected with cancer, and how he actually overcome that. And he did not leave his passion. He liked to do his work so much, and he kept his, doing it. That he at that point the cancer got cured, and how he could work on his passion and bring more and more products and into Apple and all that. So it's a very nice video. Recommend you all to see, mainly to understand this, how storytelling can be used as a very nice way to give a message to people. This is considered very good speech. And at the end, he ends his speech with saying, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." Stay hungry because you will always want to try something, always push yourself, try something new, always keep pushing yourself, and stay foolish. I was like, what do you mean by foolish? When I looked at it, basically, when you're trying to do something new or something, people might say it will not work, it will be very foolish, kind of thing. But you go ahead and take the risk. You never know, it will be successful, but don't get afraid to take this risk. So that's what he says, stay hungry, stay foolish. So my recommendation, again, go see this, mainly to learn that how a simple storytelling technique can give such powerful leave back such powerful messages. Okay, so yeah, stories to learn. Now, whatever I have told till now in the presentation is nothing new. People have always been listening. You all have been listening to stories. You have been listening to stories from your teachers, from your. I have learned it. Always listened from my grandmother, and we used to have these small stories. We used to learn something from it. Some stories uh, 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 about this kings and queens and how powerful they were and all that. So it was always to learn. You can use them to coach somebody. You want to coach somebody, give an example. Maybe it can be from your life or somebody else, and you coach them, you mentor them, motivate others with that kind of things, and motivate oneself. Why did I say motivate oneself? Sometimes during in our lifetime doing few things, and you get so busy that sometimes you're like, oh God, it's sometimes you get stressed out and you're like, maybe I can't do it. That time you will have to self motivate yourself also. You can use the stories to do that. A very simple thing I'll tell you. So I met my friends. Two of my engineering college friends had come home few months back. Two of them, and so it's about 24 years since I've met them. And actually speaking, I lost touch with them. And just a year back, one of my friend thankfully got us somehow and got a WhatsApp group and all that. And all that we had one video call. Thanks to me, I had arranged it and we had one. But I didn't meet any of them. So these people came home. And the moment they came home, one is we had a good time. But what surprised me was they said, Shivani, I don't know if you remember or not, but if it was exam time, the only person we used to look for notes is you. We used to come to your house, take your notes, take the Xerox, give it to you back. That night we will get into our rooms and we will all the boys will share that and we will read. We only pass through your notes, and then during exam time we will come to you and we will ask you, Shivani, this chapters, 5 chapters, what is that we need to read? This is what we are reading. Then you would say, no, 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 don't read this particular part. That is not important at all. I've already analyzed some few papers. This part is not going to come. Read this part. This will definitely come. And I would tell them 5-10 minutes, and they would say that, that person was telling me, speaking to you, we will get the knowledge what to do and what not to do. Get your notes and we will know what to read for the exam. So this was the 4 years of our engineering. We literally, we took your notes and we passed. Okay, and he said, I've told my son also that I'm going and meeting my friend whose notes was the only source for us, with whom we've all passed and we got through our engineering. So, that is what he told me. So believe me, I forgot about all that. It just, it's been a long time. I don't recollect anything, everything, it's like, but I remember one thing. I had a lot of friends in different colleges and I used to collate everything, make proper notes. I used to do that. And then I used to share with everyone in my college. Everyone used to come take my notes and I remember all that part. But how it had that even after 24 years, they come and the first thing, when they meet me, they say, Shivani, it's thanks to you. We passed here. We passed our engineering. Otherwise, I don't know what. We all passed and now we are all good. Today, when I look back, all my friends are placed in different internationally very well. They are placed and even national, everywhere they are placed very well. Right. So so when I look back, I feel good about myself that, I did such a good thing and people still remember, because they say, no, when you make person feel, they will not forget it. So when I am down, I motivate myself and say, pat myself on the back and say that, come on, you have you have helped so many people, and I motivate myself, why not, and all that. So this was just an example to tell that when you are itself, down, the stories and these incidents, you can just recollect and you can motivate your own self. So stories help in not just others, our own self, we can help. And one final thing I want to talk about is how you use story for personal branding. Before that, asking that question or telling about that, I would like to ask a simple question. You go to a shop, you want to buy uh, some product, say a TV. You have two TVs. One TV whose brand is very famous. It has all this say 10 features. You have another product whose brand you don't know much or very less known brand. It also has the same 10 features. Price wise also same. what would you generally prefer? Option one, known brand. Second option, totally unknown brand. Which would you prefer? You can type in chat option one, option two, option one. I can see Arunjit has said option one. Yeah, brand, correct. Okay, right, right. I think most of them would go with option one. Very simple. We don't want to take risk and we know the quality, assured quality and all that. Very simple. For this reason, you go to a shop, you will go for a branded one with the same features and everything. Now I'll give you another question. In office, there's somebody who says option two. I know, I like it. They want to take the risk. Very good. But majority of them would prefer option two. That is what I'm saying in general. Okay, in general, majority would prefer option one. Now, there is another scenario now. In office, a new position opens up. Okay, and I know there are two people capable of doing that. They have their equal capabilities of doing that job well. One person, the first person, also has a lot of network. He is known for his friends and he is more popular and kind of thing. He has a network and all that. Whereas the second person is more quiet and he doesn't have much of a network and not many people know him and all that thing. So that's the second option, right? So when this job opens up, usually would we prefer to give this whom would you prefer to give this job? Option one, the person who's known and everybody knows him. Maybe he's a SME and people always go to him because they know that he's good at it, because he has the network, and even if he has anything, he has such a good network that he would be able to get the help and get it done. So that person or somebody who does not have any network, right? So that if that going by that, some people would say option one. The main reason being he has such a network, and the advantage of that would be, he would be able to get and give the right answers, or if you're stuck, he has that network and he would give. Of course, option two also, the person is also equally qualified. Why not give him also a chance? That's another way of doing, but that's chance. If you take the chance, it will be a chance. Okay, so it depends on the scenario and situation, and it cannot be generalized as such. But what I'm trying to say is somewhere that brand adds a value, whether it was a TV or whether it is a person. Of course, in situation to situation, things may vary, right? Things may vary. It may be option one, it may be option two, and there are different ways of doing it. But my only point of telling is, have the brand is sometimes important, not just for your TVs or anything. When you carry yourself also, you must create your own personal brand. So when I say personal brand, what do I mean? It's any action that attempts to establish and influence the public perception of an individual. Perception is how they look at it. Okay, this person is somebody whom I can look at it. But if there is any issue in this product, people know that they have to come to this person. So they look at it, or this person, if we are stuck somewhere, this person will help. Or something. It may be professional. It may be not professional also. See, suppose example, I will say, I know one person who loves, who knows the different kinds of restaurants and any kind of food, right? Anything that person is good at. So when we want to try anything, or we want to go to a new restaurant, we want to order something, the best person is we go to them, and she will tell us, this restaurant you should go for lunch, this restaurant for dinner and all that. So that is because she has the expertise in that. She's tried so many things that she shares her expertise. Similarly, at office, you'll have somebody who's really an expert in a particular area, and if he is known for it, then people will keep going to him. Now, it is also important that sometimes people automatically know. When you're good at it, people know, but sometimes it's important that you project also. That is what we're doing, and we can tell that by a story that paints the picture of what you want to show the world you are. Are you a subject matter expert of something? Or sometimes what happens, you like doing something, but unless you tell that, if there is a scenario or a situation comes, people will not know. to give you the a role or some kind of thing. Suppose example, I like anchoring events. Unless I keep doing it or I keep telling people or some way that I tell people, then when an opportunity comes, then only they'll come and look at me. So that is why it's very important to have a personal brand. And this personal brand, you can do it through, do you in social, no, what was it? Okay, I'll come to the questions. There was some question that has come. So we can use social media to do it. Now, I don't use much of social media, but one thing I've started using recently is LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, what the advantage is, when I do something, I know, I keep posting, the people know that, this person is interested in such events, and they would come to me and ask me if any such things come up. Anybody in my network would come and willingly offer to me that, yes, why not come and do this, right? That's what it helps. So yeah, you can use it personal. You can use the storytelling technique to create your own brand. That is what I was trying to say. Now, example. I'm just taking my example. Okay. So what is the picture that I want to paint of myself? What is a brand that I want to carry? So I've always seen, when I remember when I joined the office, and there were a lot of, a lot of behavioral workshops. Not many used to come. They used to say, no, Shivani, we are busy. But I used to ensure I go for all those things, but I'll work extra for that. I ensure my work is not affected. So I always wanted to challenge myself. I can do this also and I can do that also. So I kept doing this and again and again and again. So today, if you look at it, I am also the Owl Woman Leadership Community Leader. I am there. They call me for my office. Last year, I got the award for Engineering Breakthrough Deal of the Years for my efforts for last year. I'm also doing a volunteering event, Oracle Volunteering Community Leader. I'm there. I'm also subject expert for the reports. So any issue today comes to reports, they ask me. Okay, I think I'm doing everything, all these things. So what is a brand that I want to show that, yes, good at my job, but I like doing a lot of other things. I'm always into volunteering, to make things better for people. And I try to take out my time and do all these things. So all this is possible if you have the right support at home, the right support at office, and your office has all these avenues where you can uh, show your capabilities. So uh, all these things, yeah, help you. And so that's what I wanted to project. So I always had this question when I joined, that can you do both? I was always answering, yes, you can do both. Then I said, if I can do both, let me be the role model. Why, to show to the people that you need not be just work, 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 or you need not be this and that. You can be a combination. You just need to balance. And I thought I should become the role model, and I'm trying my best. Maybe sometimes certain things don't come through well, but it always is a learning. So this is a personal brand that I'm creating for myself. And how am I projecting it? So I said, use your storytelling techniques and you project it in your social media. So how am I doing it? So I've just got it. This is my LinkedIn page. So this is the same image that I showed you all, that India thing. I'm very proud of. I feel very passionate about it. It started with nothing, and we got the whole thing, and we got this done. So I like this. So I put that, and I put my, thing that's inspire and create banking products, and always volunteer to make a positive difference. So I believe in that, and I keep doing that every time. And I ensure I keep posting people and keep them informed about what all I keep doing, so that they are aware. And I'm creating a brand for myself with my network. So that's how I am doing it. And yeah. So that's what I would say. Yeah, win the world with your stories, because stories create the impact, and you can win the world. Right. So I will go ahead and take the final questions. Yeah. Sonali, any questions I could see on the
Yes,
floor?
yes, we have a question, Shubhangini.
Yeah.
So Harish is asking, can you be approached in case of any questions or doubts?
Sure. I will pass on my email ID, and yeah, you all can send any queries you can ask me.
Okay, thank you for that, Shubhangini.
Yeah.
So that was the last question we had. So there is an announcement for the attendees. Request everybody to fill in the feedback form, which has been shared to you on your mail ID. We have recorded this session, and this session recording will be available on YouTube in the next 2 days on the PMI Mumbai chapter channel, where our earlier videos have also been posted. So just checking if there are any more questions which have come in.
What is the most important way to inspire others? Just this one question.
Yeah, that's one question from
What is the most
Claude.
important way to inspire others in our stories? Most important way to inspire others in our stories. I think you should have got the answer from now in the presentation. So it is the best way to inspire is the story itself. The story itself will start inspiring. That is the most important way. So take the story, the selection of the story should be very clear that what is the message you're trying to convey. So when you tell the story, that itself will bring the action. So A is to alias, that will get them into the alias mode. And finally, you will see the action happening. Right, Claude?
Right. Thank you, Subhangini. There's a question from
Other than
Dhananjay.
Dhananjay says, other than software development team, any experience in any other in other industry? No, Dhananjay, I have been completely. So I was out of college. My MBA I got through my campus. So I joined that company SRA Systems. I worked for 4 years, and then from there I went to iFlex and then Oracle. It was completely into the software field. That is what I have. But I do a lot more things. I do a lot more volunteering, and I do a lot of things in my community and all that. So that's what is the different things that I do, where I can see these things, how I can use it in practical life and in my family life and everything. But other than this, I don't have any other experience. It's been completely software. Yeah, that is where is my experience.
Okay. There was
Any other
one comment from Prashant Shubhangini. He said that the Steve Jobs example is very relevant and he can relate to it. And he's seen the video, is what he said. And for the other attendees, please check it out. The Steve Jobs video link that Shubhangini has shared. There is definitely a learning for all of us.
Right. So I'll do one thing. I'll just put this link to everyone here in the chat. They can copy it. Yeah, I put that in the chat. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions or any other things?
Yeah, one has come up. Yeah, when you speak of hook from Eno, what works good, mostly in international audience?
Okay. So if you look at this, I'll go back to that hook thing. 3 things they talk about right here in this. Say something provocative. Now, the example that I took itself, that what you believe, what you should believe more than 100% of more than your boss, right? More that is what that was that was a session that was being conducted for all the women leaders across the globe, and they had come to the Singapore thing, and that was exactly what he had used. So the words you use, the body language, the way you use that itself is a hook that will definitely catch all your audience. And make it very simple, so people understand what you're, and sometimes a surprise, as what is this person trying to say. First I didn't even understand why he's saying 100% more than, and that to boss he's saying and all. It was very it was more of a curiosity. That was when it started, and like, what is the person trying to do? I mean, what is this person trying to explain? So when you create that curiosity, when you create that power in your speech, then whether it is international or local audience, anything, anybody, it creates that. You catch the, so you start with that alias A, you catch the attention. It starts there, right? Yes, that's the answer.
Okay, thank you, Shivangini.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you everyone. I hope it was, and if any other queries also, please do pass on. I will leave my mail ID with Sonali, and yeah, you all can pass on. Okay. Any other comments, anything, please let.
Yeah. So there are no more questions, Shubhangini, but the example that you gave from your engineering days, that reminds me of one quote which says, "No one has ever become poor by giving. And I think the example that you gave is a perfect example to match the quote.
Yes, yes.
You have been talking of creating memories and stories, and I think your session has really been memorable. So thank you very much for that, and I'm sure our attendees have enjoyed the session, and there is a lot of learning for us from the stories that you shared today. So now we would like to go ahead with the vote of thanks and certificate giving to Subhangini. So we have Naushad sir, who is from our board of directors, and he will do the honors. Over to you, Naushad sir.
Yeah, thanks, Sonali. So, Shubhangini, it was indeed a very engaging session of storytelling. It is very important in this project management world where we have to drive our narratives and keep our colleagues, keep our subordinates, keep our uh, friends engaged, our network engaged. So, a very relevant topic, very important for project managers. So as a token of appreciation on behalf of Board of Directors, I would like to present the certificate to you. So this certificate is given on behalf of the board. So thanks, Subhangini, and please accept this certificate.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Naushad sir, and thank you all. Thank you all for having me. My only last words is go ahead, win the world with stories. Stories can be anything, but just keep win the world. Stories can be helpful for a lot of things. Okay, so enjoy with your stories. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you, Naushad
Subhangini.
sir.
Thanks,
Thank
Sonali.
you.
Thank you. So hope you all enjoyed today's session. Have a good day. Take care. Stay healthy. Stay safe. And thanks a lot once again. I'm signing off and we are ending this session. Bye bye. Take care.